All right. Well, welcome everybody. That's all right. For the love of the shave, did that get rid of my echo? All right. Holy smokes. That's what happens when I change the locations and I don't plan for the updated. Let's see here. So now we got two laptops going. You can see the new stickers. These some of you have got them that have signed up for the ambassador program. Hopefully you got those in the mail. Hopefully everybody is doing well. And it looks like we got a good crew for starting 11 minutes late and for being all right. So I think we should be good here. Assuming that I didn't just blow it with that. Enter that studio. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Has been out on the lake for the weekend and have had a great time. Hopefully you all were able to get out, have a safe time on the water. I know that I saw a few accidents in Savannah, Wilmington River. There was a crash. There were some fatalities, unfortunately. Just goes to show you've got to be aware. You got to pay attention. So I hope you guys were all safe. Hope you got on the water and enjoyed it at least a little bit. And now we are here for some questions. So now that we got sound issues, Russ, welcome. Derek, thanks for your help. For the love of the shave, I think we're good on the echo. Bill, Calvin, my tech skills. Yeah, I used to think of myself when I was in my 20s. I'm like, I got this stuff figured out. I am a tech wizard. But now my kids are way ahead of me in that department. So welcome everybody. Daniel Larson back again. Bill back. For the love of the shave. Calvin back. Daniel Larson, let's see. Spent the weekend in Saginaw Bay, Saginaw River, and Docklines River. Great time as always. Little chop on the bay, but other than that, a perfect weekend. Yeah, we're here at my in-laws' place on Lake Loudon in just outside Knoxville, Tennessee, and you can see now that we've got all the issues worked out. I was planning on doing this down at the dock, but the channel is out that way if you were to see beyond all the trees and everything. And it was going to be beautiful. I had it all good to go, but now I can't even get my microphone working in the house. So thank you guys. I would love to hear how your weekends were. If you got on the water, what questions you have. If you haven't joined us for a live before, the way they work is you ask your questions. I give any answers. If there's a topic you want to cover, there's a few things that came up with me out on the water the last couple of days. We got here Thursday night. We went to Pigeon Forge on Friday to do we did the Paula Deen Lumberjack show, little mini golf, the regular tourist trappy stuff, and had a ball. We did some little bowling and we did lots of ice cream and treats and dinners out, and just a good time hanging out with my wife and my two girls. And then we spent Saturday, Sunday, and today on the water, and we are heading back tomorrow morning. So let me know. Like Daniel had a great time up there in Michigan, up in Saginaw. I know I got a couple of emails from folks that were out on the waters. I don't know water. Yes, Derek. This is where the cobalt is. So I had my in-laws, my mother-in-law and father-in-law weren't able to make it. They're coming down for like 2 months or 3 months in a couple of weeks. So I got the boat all cleaned up for them, ready to go. Ran out the old gas. There was ran it down to like 20%, filled it up, and got it all cleaned up and ready for him. So I'm very lucky in that respect that I get to run a super nice boat and stay at a super nice place, and it's just a short drive from us in the Carolinas. So it was very nice. Bill says, let's see, I can't do that here. I got to do that over here. There we go. Witness a guy at the fuel dock in need of your help. More throttle, rarely the right answer. Yes, that is almost never the right answer. And for a beginner, it is never the right answer. That will never make the situation better. That will only cause more issues. So hopefully we can get, I saw a lot of good stuff out in the water this weekend. A lot of courteous boaters, a lot of people having a great time, responsible surfers that were surfing up on the shore side with no docks, just going into there's some sheer cliffs and some tree lined, undeveloped places. Surfers that were boating and surfing way far away on the middle of the channel where their wakes weren't going to cause damage. And of course, you saw the cruising down the middle of the channel with the docking lights on. People coming way too close to docks and paddleboarders and kayakers and things like that were off to the side. Now, if you're a kayaker or a paddleboarder out in the middle of a busy channel, you made that choice in my mind. You can't expect people to go slow down to idle speed in that situation. But if you're over by the shore and there's plenty of water, it's I believe the powerboater's responsibility to stay way clear. And it's technically the law. So let's see here. I got to run this computer with the comments, this computer. And by the way, Charlie, this is for you. What I'm doing now this is actually the way we will do. This is the way we'll do the dual screens. So you'll get a link just like the one I've got, and it will allow us to go on. We'll both be on the camera. So here's one I did plan for. Came out to launch 200 yards out. Seaplane came over the island who was landing. The seaplane gives way to everybody. So everybody has the right of way. Seaplane has to be is the last one in the line. And on my video of 5 minutes rules of boating, I talk about that. But the seaplane is technically the lowest one on the ladder. They have to stay clear of everybody. They can't land or they can't take off if there's an obstruction. I hear that to clear the edge, no wake. This plane was new. Yeah. So reality is that the plane should wait till everything is clear on the water before they come in. Now, the reality is that's a difficult situation. And if I see a seaplane coming in, I'm going to get off to the side knowing that they're going to have to land in a big open area. But the true rules of the road in U.S. Coast Guard regs is seaplane. And there's a thing called, it's like a hover plane that just flies like 30 feet over it uses the cushion of air between the water and the thing. Those two fall in the same category. So that's good, Charlie. Getting Hux, by the way, Hux 2012 is Charlie. That's his real world name. That's good to get out of your first couple of weekends. You're running into seaplanes and you're dealing with some nasty channels and some big chop up there in Minnesota. So that's good experience. Always new stuff. Yeah, that Calvin, that's another good point. Is the seaplane, what the seaplane should do is they should do a couple of flybys of the area that they're going to land, and just kind of letting people know that, hey, that's where we're going before they come in, and they should scout it out. Again, they've got their give right away to everybody else, but if they're coming in for the landing, just stay out of their way if you can. Billy Bob says, haven't gotten wet yet. New Lund is still awaiting the Hummingbird. Seems to have major supply chain issues and no guidance to customers. Unfortunately, Billy Bob, that's been par for the course. I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of chaparral people. I've heard a lot of sun tracker folks having issues. I've heard a lot of C Pro, I think. I'm in a bunch of different owners groups on Facebook and stuff. And electronics are a big one. Hummingbirds, Garmin's, and are all having some issues getting that in. And unfortunately, I wish they would do a better job of just, say, we don't have it and we don't have an expectation of when it's going to come in, or give an expectation. And unfortunately, that hasn't even been happening. I've talked to some chaparral people that have gotten, not only are they not getting the boats in time, but they're getting price increases at the last minute. The dealers, and this is to me a dealer issue, the dealers are requiring them to sign paperwork before the boat is water ready. And they're pushing them to sign paperwork. Now, if anybody's listening in that situation, I would recommend, hey, I will sign and I will pay you your money when I've tested that boat, when I've been able to inspect that boat, when everything's there. You don't get paid until I have a boat that I'm ready to go out on next week, or the next day, or today. That's, I understand that the dealers want to get it closed for certain reasons, but this is the price we agreed upon. I'm not taking delivery until this happens. And I'm confident that we've got a boat that I'm going to be happy with because of all the issues that have been coming up. So, unfortunately, Billy Bob, kind of par for the course. Let's see. Question about insurance. L99K for replacement valve coverage. Company suggestion. I assume that's looking for replacement value coverage. Yes, that's what you want. I've got, if you haven't watched my video, let's see if I can do this here. Insurance. If you check out this video here, I guess that's what we're going to share. If you check out this video right here, this cheap boat insurance, 5 insider secrets to the best and cheapest boat insurance, and this one here, that will give you some good information. And then if you want a recommendation for a company, you can go to this page right here, boatersecretweapon.com/pages/insurance. And let's see if I can do this here. I'm going to paste that in there for you. Billy Bob, watch those videos first, because that will give you the knowledge that you need. Holy crapola. There we go. That will give you the knowledge that you need to make a smart decision. And then on this page, it will match you with the insurance company that is a good fit for you. Okay. There's just a couple insurance companies, and we try to put you with one that's going to do the best based on your area and the type of boat that you have, and the couple other things that are in there. And that way I can refer, and I'm able to track, hey, are they doing a good job? You can report back to me, hey, it was a good quote. They took care of me. And that's what I'm most concerned about. If you get a way better quote from somebody else that has great coverage, perfect, go with them. But they should get a good, fair, reasonable quote with great coverage. So I know that you're covered if something comes up. And then these videos are really valuable as well. Let me go to, there we go. That way it's not as jarring when I come back. All right. Solo layout. There we go. All right. So that worked out pretty good. Let's see. I saw Silver Stranger on here. Where are you? There we go. Silver Stranger, welcome. Always great to have you joining us. Billy Bob, good deal. that will be some good information for you. And there's that link to the page. There's that link to the page. I'll give you some time to check that out. A couple other things that happened were, oh shoot, I don't have my phone. Yeah, I do. Had uncovered the boat, and it was, again, the hadn't been opened up at all today or this year, and opened it up, and there were black ants all over the place. When you're putting your boat away, this boat lives on a lift, and so we tied dock lines just in case the lift failed, to be cautious. The problem with dock lines is ants will crawl down the lines and get into the boat. And if there's any food sources, which after a day on the water with my kids, there's food sources of, a spilt beer, a juice box, or something that didn't, you just can't get in every crack and crevice. So they were on the boat. There's moisture, so they've got their liquid. And so I was given by the neighbor, Mike, who's a super great guy. Let's see if I can. He gave me this stuff called Toro. I don't know if that's coming through very clear. You want to say hi? Yeah. Tero, Terro, ant killer. All right, we've got some special guests here.
Hi.
So they are showered up after a couple of lake days. You didn't shower?
Did my oil change 1.5 hours for first?
All right, good. Okay, say hi. Now it's time to go.
Hi. Hi.
All right.
Hi.
So there's our special guest for the day. But that works. He says that's going to work real well on the ants. So if you have ants that are on the boat, I'm told this stuff is really good. Terro, ant killer. You just put it a little dollop on a piece of cardboard, and then I put it in a Tupperware bowl, and I set it in the cooler area. If you can see that, where they were. What? You're leaving? Okay. So,
with mommy.
Okay. Get ice cream, I assume. All right. Have fun. So that works. He says that's going to work real well. And then what I should have done to avoid that problem altogether is, if you're going to tie your boat up for a period of time, is spray the dock lines with some like home defense ant killer or ant. It's like a zone where they won't cross it. Spray the dock lines with that, and then you won't get the ants crawling down the lines. That's a trick for cruiser owners that I should have been smart enough to do that, but I didn't. Didn't do it last summer when we put it away. Yep, smash that like button. I appreciate everybody that shares and likes and comments on the videos on the channel. Seem like the used boat market's softening in the Dakotas. Yeah, so let me show you this if I can. I talked about this, Google Trends. I talked about this in my most recent market update, but I showed it to my wife the other day. Boats for sale. So this is a digital marketing tool that digital marketers use for search engine optimization, for different things like that. And let's go big on that. So if you can see the lines here, this is 2019, just a regular year. You can see 2017, 2018, 2019, it started to trick down. And had the pandemic not happened, my expectation for the industry was that 2020 would have been down slightly again, if not down more. But you can see right here, the pandemic hit in March. Everybody kind of froze. Nobody did anything. But in April, it jumped up. May jumped up. June jumped way up. Had the normal winter, but still higher, much higher than what you would expect in a normal winter. 2021 came back down a little bit, but still significantly higher than 2019, 2017, 2016. But if you look at this on the 5-year track, you can see the steepness of this angle here and the steepness of this angle here. This is a much shallower angle, which means that not as many people are searching Google for boats for sale. Now, the same if you do pontoons for sale, used boats for sale, it follows that same, last year it was like this. This year it's starting out like this. So I think it's softening all over the place. Not so much that I'm seeing any price decreases, but you're seeing boats last a little bit longer. And we'll see what happens after the 4th of July. If that continues, we may see prices go down a little bit, but it depends on what happens with, in my opinion, it depends on what happens with the new boat inventory. Do we see a lot of people that are saying, hey, you made a price increase on me after I had a signed contract, and now you're raising it 5, 8, 10, 20%, I've heard, and people are walking away from new boats, then we might see prices drop down a little bit. But I don't think we're going to see that yet. But Russ, you're 100% right. The boat market is slowing down, and we're seeing it. I mean, I don't think you can get any more real world numbers than what people are searching on Google. That's real time what's happening. So I think you're on the money. And but there's still, if you look at that, it's not like it's off. So that's May 22nd, and that's May 22nd there. So it's not like it's a huge amount off, but that's on that gray line right there. So what is that? Maybe 15 points, 10 points, maybe something like that. And this line is just data's not all the way in yet, so don't think it's fallen off the cliff there. And I'm seeing the same thing on my channel as far as views of that. I'm still increasing, but my views aren't going at the same level of increasing that they were last year this time. All right, Huck says, did my first oil change. First engine, 45 minutes. For the second engine, 200-pound torque. I don't know, Charlie. I don't know what the oil filter torque is. I know that just the hand tightening is sort of the rule of thumb. You don't want to crank it on there. I don't know what level of torque that would be that you would hand tighten it. But whatever the Yamaha manual says, what you don't want to do is crank it on there so much that you have a hard time taking it off. I mean, once you get that good seal is all you really need. And if you over tighten it, it can make it really hard to get off. And I mean, that's awesome. If you're the second engine, you did it in 45 minutes, you cut it in half. You just saved yourself probably $500 or more from having a dealer do it or a tech do it. So that's great that you're able to do that yourself. Silver Stranger, thank you very much. I always appreciate you've been very generous with me on the channel. Let everybody know about the Merc 150 faulty starter. So Silver Stranger took delivery of oh crap, now I'm gonna have to remember the name of the boat. We talked about it on the live. It was from Marine Max, and Silver Stranger, would you be, let's see here. I don't think Silver. Let me see if I can find his email. I don't think that was Hagercraft. Is that? No. Dargle. I'm going to see if I can show. All right. So we had a long email thread. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, he had Dargo. There we go. He had, hey, I want to get this flats boat. It was a nice shallow water, shallow draft, buying it from Marine Max in his area. And boat came in, they traded in his, I think, trophy is what he had, and took delivery of this brand new 2022 boat with the 2022 Mercury. Well, took it out the first time, and there was a faulty starter issue that the starter and the flywheel were having some conflict, and caused some, we'll say, catastrophic failure. Silver Stranger, if that would be right. And it's a known issue with the current Mercury 150s. So there's an issue with the starter that's causing conflict with the flywheel that's causing major damage. So I need to do a little bit more research and find out, but I'll say here's the good news is he traded in a boat that was in perfectly good running condition for a new style boat that he was really excited about. First day out of the water, has this issue, some other issues with some cosmetic stuff, with some fiberglass issues, with some gel coat cracking, let's see if I got all of that. Basically, if you were on the live, disappointed. You get super excited the day of delivery. You're like, yes, this is my new boat. I'm so excited. And you get out there and you start finding these things wrong with your boat. And then your engine craps out and now you got nothing. And now that you're like, what's the dealer going to do? And that's where he was last week or 2 weeks ago is, I don't know, is the dealer going to make it right? And this is why I always say brand's important to a point, but the dealer is so important. It's time and time again, when bad things happen, a dealer can step up like his MarineMax store did. And they said, he sent me this, just got a call from the service department at MarineMax. They're going to replace everything for free, are willing to take the boat to the lake after the repairs are done. Problem with the Mercury 150 Pro. So is that the Mercury Pro XS, I think, is the one that he's talking about? Certain models with bad starters that weren't machined correctly. So there's a batch. Hopefully they know about it. This happened to me. I delivered a pontoon to a client, and his second day on the water, he puff of smoke, oil all over in the water. And he was like, I just spent 60 grand on this pontoon and I traded in my used boat because of that. And okay, the Pro XS. So it's the 150 Pro XS. That means that it's also the 175 Pro XS, probably. I don't know if the 200 is the same. I know the 175 probably is. They usually use the same engines for that. But as art for me, we pulled the motor and we put a new one on that we knew wasn't in that lot. And we were on the phone back and forth with Mercury, not me, but the owners of the company were on the phone back and forth with Mercury saying, okay, what are the serial numbers? We got all the part numbers that they needed. And they said, yep, we've had this happen on several of them. We figured out the issue. We fixed it. And now they're back in business. But we pulled that motor and put a new one on within 2 days. And it sounds like Silver Stranger's having this same experience with his dealer. Now, we talked about it last week. That doesn't always happen. There are some dealers that are like, hey, we got paid. Yes, we'll take care of it. We'll do whatever we can. Or some will say, well, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to go to the back of the line. And so that's why it's the dealer relationship on a new boat, especially, is so very, very important. And Silver Stranger, thank you for reminding me of that, because I would have completely forgot. I would have completely forgot bringing that up today. But that is, let's see. Yeah, the Pro XS said the starter was over machined. So what that means exactly, I don't know. It means that they messed up. Somebody messed up, whoever they get their starters from, or if they build them in house, which they probably do, or they may. I know Mercury likes to keep a lot of stuff in house for quality control issues, but also for quick fixes on quality control issues. So thank you for bringing that back up. Silver Stranger so we could talk about that, because I was looking to do a repower on my center console 150. Should I buy a new gas one? The electric outboards. All right, so B Skipper, check out electric. Check out this video here, and this video right here, the electric boats. I don't know why that's coming up twice there, but check out that one, because one, I'll give you my answer there. I'll tell you that the 180 horsepower electric motor I ran, I was impressed. I was super impressed. But in my mind, there's still issues. Now, B Skipper 89, depending on how you run your boat, how you're going to use it, what your facilities look like, can you charge it if you live on the water? If you're going to be trailering, how do you boat? Are you gonna run your boat for short periods at slow speeds? Do you do water sports? What kind of range do you need? And range at what RPMs with what load in the boat? Because that's still where it's falling short in my mind. Is it's falling short in the ability to run at 4,500 RPMs, which isn't very fast on most boats, for 4 hours. So we were out cruising today. We ran an hour up the lake at, I don't know, 25 miles an hour, which was probably 4,000 RPM, maybe 4,500. We stopped, swam around a little bit, ran a little bit more, ran through a really long no wake zone at idle speed, ran another hour back. I wouldn't be confident running that distance at those RPMs with the electric outboards. If you're just trolling, you might be okay. But I don't think in the next 2 years, I don't think you're going to see the battery power getting to the point where you can say, hey, I can run like that for my style of boating. If your style of boating is different and you're just going to go out for an hour cruise and then come back and go out for an hour cruise, I think that, okay, then it could work for you. But for most pleasure boaters, I just don't think the battery technology is there. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool that we're going that direction and looking at that. But I don't think that we're going to see, everybody's hanging electric engines on their outboard pontoons. I don't think we're going to see that for another decade. That's my own personal opinion, but and you can watch that video. I go into detail. I take you on the demo when I got the opportunity to run that boat down at Tampa at an industry event last year. So, so that's my thoughts there. B Skipper. All right, I'm all off kilter with 2 computers here, but at least we're getting there. Just checked my dockline situation. 14 lines too many. Hey, better 14 than only 2. That I was at. We went to Calhoun's. It's a restaurant just down the way. And we got some ice, stopped at the restaurant for some pina coladas for my girls and some fried pickles, which is a little appetizer, a little snack in the middle of the day. Backed it in the slip, got ready to tie up. There were 3 cleats missing. So I had a pylon up in the bow off my starboard side. And then I had a cleat that was way off on the port side if you were going to be on the other side of the dock. So my daughter and we had 6 dock lines tied on, and we were jerry rigging these dock lines we tied off one on a piling that was way off the back. It wasn't a tripping hazard. We were on the very end of that section of docks, but hey, I would rather have 14. Maybe Derek, you're going a little overboard. Maybe you could cut that down to 10. But yeah, got to have at least 6 in my mind. You got to have 6 on the boat at a minimum. And I had this question from a YouTube comment: is how long do they need to be? And I shot a video. I'll put it up. But it was this situation is, hey, you may think that having a dock line that's 2/3 of the length of your boat is too much. But here's my recommendation, kind of the general rule of thumb: have the bow line and the stern lines be 2/3 the length of the boat, and have 2 spring lines that are about the length of the boat. Because if you get in a wonky docking situation where the cleats are no good or they're in the wrong places, and so one time we ran around the piling and came back, and we ran around the piling and went forward so that we could keep the boat from hitting on the swim platform. And you can't do that if you have a short dock line. Now, 80% of the time, those long dock lines are, you got to coil them up and you got to clean them up so they're not a tripping hazard. But when you need it, and you can't stretch a rope, from what I understand, and unless you're tying them together, and then you got other issues. So glad that share with a stranger when you see somebody out there tying up with a ski rope, Derek. Just give them 2 dock lines and say, hey, this will get you started. Go to West Marine and order yourself a couple more. All right. All right, we got Silver Stranger. Fuel prices may be a factor also. So I filled up, like I said, we were probably 15% is what we had left in the tank. And I think, I don't even know what it was per gallon, but it was just over $200 for fuel when I fueled up earlier today on the lake with Rec 90, is I think what they were pumping, the Valtech Rec 90. But yeah, Ray, I don't think it impacts as much people going out on the water. Now, I think you may anchor out more. You may not cruise as much. I heard some people saying they weren't going to go offshore fishing for certain species. But I don't think it keeps people off the water. But I do think, Ray, you're right, that it keeps people from buying a boat, because now when they think about it, they're like, oh, crap, my cost to own it is going to go up significantly. But if you've already fell in love with boating, as a lot of you guys know here on the channel, if you've already fell in love with boating, well, a fuel bill of $150 versus a fuel bill of $200 to fill up. Okay. I'm not excited about it. I would rather spend that money on, something else, but okay. I'll do it. I'll still get out on the water. Maybe we'll anchor out more. Maybe we won't cruise to that restaurant that's way far away. Maybe I'll run at 3,700 RPMs instead of 4,200 RPMs, and I'll watch my gallons per hour burn a little bit more, and I'll save it that way. I'll probably do a video on, ways to save fuel because of this gas in price. But I think you're 100% right that it's impacting the people buying boats, as well as all the other craziness that's going on in the world, for sure. All right, let's see here. I am all behind. Pro XS. Mine is cut. Okay, so Billy Bob, what you want to ask about is just say, hey, I know that there's an issue with the starters. What I want to make sure is that mine doesn't have this issue. Here's the good thing, Billy Bob. If you follow my advice of don't take delivery of the boat unless you run it, this issue is going to happen. Silver Stranger, correct me if I'm wrong, but almost instantly. It's going to fire up and it's going to say something's not right. Same thing with my client's boat is if a motor is going to go bad, it's usually going to happen within the first 5 hours of operation. If there's a true manufacturer defect and that engine's going to have a major problem, it's usually going to happen in the first 5 hours. And I would say 90% of the time it's going to happen in the first 20 hours. There's the 10% of times where it's a usage issue, but normally if there's a manufacturing defect, it's going to show itself right away. And I think that's probably the case. I'm almost certain with this with the starter on the Pro XS, but that's why you don't take delivery and you don't pay for the boat until you put it in the water and you run it. And you say, all right, I'm confident that this boat does what I want it to do, the way I want it to do it. And you get back to the dock and you inspect all the little things and the details, the gel coat and the switches and the systems and the lights and the, whatever you got on the boat. You go through that. You may say, I don't want to be a pain in the butt. Be a pain in the butt, because boats are handmade, especially right now. Issues are coming up. A lot of them can be fixed real easily. And it's much easier if you find the issue at delivery when the dealer's sitting right there with you and they can't say, oh, you did that. You caused that. And you say, just came off your truck. I'm just taking delivery. Let's write this all down. You tell me how we're going to address it. I'm happy with that. Now we'll sign the papers. Or I'm not happy with that. Or, hey, this engine just blew up. I don't think I'm going to write a check right now until this is addressed and I have a new engine so I can be boating tomorrow on this boat that I'm paying 50, 70, 90, 200, 500,000, whatever it is. And it happens in all those levels. And it happens in premium brands. It happens in value brands, which somebody called me out on that the other day. Why do you call it value brands and not just say it's a cheap boat? I gave my answer on the comments. You can go and look on that. Yeah, just double check. I would assume that issue has been addressed already, and they sent a bunch of them out, and then they've got them. Hey, these serial numbers have that issue, and they're sending the new starters to get it fixed, and new things rolling off the line will be fixed. Is my expectation. I must say this weekend, Dargo was epic. Caught 35 black drum. My daughter, now, here's the thing, is in 2 years from now, if MarineMax follows through, and there's every reason to assume that they will, the new motor's hung, which obviously it is if you were out this weekend, all those things that are a headache right now, what you're going to remember is, oh, yeah, I had some issues when I took, but that first weekend I took my daughter out and we caught a 35-inch black drum. Look at these pictures. That's what you're going to be focused on. And that's what, when people say, oh, boating's so expensive, it's just a hole in the water you throw money into. The best 2 days are the day you buy it and sell it. They don't know what Silver Stranger has known for a while, because this isn't his first boat. He understands that, yeah, there's hassles and there's headaches and there's expense, but what kind of memories is he going to have? And his daughter, I don't know, Silver Stranger, how old your daughter is, but that is why we do it. That's why the cleaning the boats and putting $200 worth of fuel in and, doing all the other stuff that we do. That's why I was out with my girls, and this is what my daughters like to do when we cruise. And you met them earlier. So, and some of you have known them for a while. My daughters are pretty funny. I think maybe every dad says that, but here we go. So that's what my daughters enjoy doing, is they get up in the bow, and my youngest one ties a cleat hitch from the two bow cleats on either side, right? And then they hold on to it like they're riding a buck and bronco. And they usually I told them to put their arms up for that picture because it was smooth enough, but they hold on there and they ride the waves, and they have such a blast, and they're having a great time. And that, to me, that's priceless. I'm going to have that memory of them having that good time at this age, and them looking back at me and smiling and say, hit that wave, daddy, hit that wave, daddy. And there's just, it's just difficult to beat that. And to me, that's what boating's all about, for sure. Those are the memories. Gas generator as a backup. Yeah. ZKR99, it's good to see you again. He's been following the channel for quite a while. He's been in the comments, I want to say even maybe 2 years ago is when he first started showing up. But yeah, the generator as a backup, I think could be an option. Now you're adding a little bit extra weight. Depends on the style of boat. You've got that balance of weight. You've already got the weight of the battery pack that's always there. Like, fuel, it goes to half full and you lose some of that weight. But I think the generator is something that we'll probably see, like the hybrid vehicles that use that. None your business. Yes. Used boat market. I don't know what the exact dollar amount is, but I can tell you this. I updated an article on my Boater Secret Weapon website that is how expensive is boating bait, or how expensive are pontoon boats. And I updated the pricing because I was like, oh crap, I need to rebuild these boats. So what I did is I built a value sun tracker. I built some mid-tier Harris Cruiser. I think there was a South Bay in there, Bennington, maybe, and a Barletta. And then I just priced out the engines. I went to a manufacturer that had basically the full price for the engine in their build-a-boat. And I put a 50, a 90, a 150, and a 250 or whatever. And those prices on new rose. I haven't done the math yet. I've got the numbers, but I haven't done the math yet. I would venture to say 30% is probably pretty darn close. On the used side, I can't tell you in the last 3 years, but I'll tell you this. When I sold boats from 2009 to 2012 or 13, maybe 2014, I don't remember when I stopped for sure, but the boats I was selling for $25,000 10 years ago are now selling for 30, 32,000. So I don't know when that jump happened. It may have been a steady rise because of just the way the number of boats built and the demand has gone up in 2005, 2006, 2007. Boat production was at the highest level. Mortgage meltdown hit in 2008. Boom. Production dropped almost 40% or so. 2009, 2010, 2011, it finally started picking up a little bit. 2012 and 13, I decided to get out when the business was really booming for personal reasons. I had a daughter and just didn't want to work the weekends. I wanted to be enjoying the lake. But yeah, the rate of increase in the pricing of boats has certainly been close to the 30% that you've seen in the car prices, and it's on the new side and it's on the used side. And but some of it has to do with the total number of boats that were built. And if you look at, I talk about it in this video, market update. Let's see. All right, in this video, the spring 2022, which was done April 26th, so just about a month ago, I talk about that concept of the level of production and why used boat prices has gone up, because there just weren't as many used boats as there had been previously because of the recession. The boat number of boats built dropped significantly during that time. So you can check that out there. Let's see here. No such thing as a cheap boat. You are 100% correct. 100% correct, Russ. Let's see. Ezra, is the HIN the registration number or the on the hull of your boat? Yes. So Ezra Smith, there is a hull identification number, or HIN, HIN, hull identification number, which says this is the serial number for your boat. It's going to be on the back starboard side or right side as you're facing the bow. It's going to be on the right side on the back corner somewhere. It may be on the all the way back, or it may be stamped on the side. It may be stamped into the fiberglass, or it may be a metal plate. And it's going to start out letter, 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 and then letter numbers from there. So like a Sea Ray is going to be SERV, number, 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 and then the last two digits are going to be the year of the boat. So now your engine will also have a serial number, which needs to be matched on your registration if it's an outboard. It has a serial number if it's a stern drive or an inboard, but it's not used the same way because it's not removable. It's considered part of the boat. And then the trailer will have a serial number. So you'll have the HIN, the serial number for the motor, serial number for the trailer, and then you'll have your boat registration number, which is going to be, in South Carolina, it's going to be SC number, 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 letter, letter. And those are the vinyl letters that you put on the bow of your boat. That's the registration number. So hopefully that helps you out. Let me know if there's a specific reason you asked those questions, and I can try to help you out there. Brock, good to have you. My 250 Pro XS had a pinch number 3 spark plug wire right out of the factory. Fired it up for the water test. Sounded funny. Pulled the cowl. There was a plug wire sliced open. Yeah, it's why even on new boats I say run it. It's not like you're buying a F-150 or a whatever vehicle, a Yukon or a Toyota Corolla or whatever. They're built differently. Mistakes happen. Things get pinched. There's tighter quarters. There's more. There's less robotics where they're shipping however many thousands of F-150s off the line a day or a week. They're shipping, on that Sportsman, which I think that's what the 250 is on. Now you probably got a Yamaha on that Sportsman. That's probably on your Skeeter. They're, even the most popular boat, think of whatever you think is the most popular boat and how many units they build. If they build over 5,000 units a year, that's huge. They're one of the top 5% of boat builders in the country. Yamaha jet boats, they build 5,000 to 7,000, maybe this year they got up to total units. Now, but they've got how many different models? So of the model, they probably only build 500, maybe 1,000 of a particular model throughout the full year. So that means what? 100 a month. So it's different in the boating world, and that's why those on-water inspections are so much more important, because little things like that can happen. Had Brock just taken delivery of the boat and he's like, "Oh, it's running funny," then it'd be like, "Well, you did it." Not that they would have. I don't know who his dealer was on that boat, but it could happen, and it does happen. So do your full inspection before you take ownership of that boat, so that you can say, "You see this? This is your issue to fix, not my issue to fix." It's more common on littler things. Usually on engines, they're pretty good about that. So, all right, let's see here. Oh, shout out to Trailer Like a Pro. Did my first 90-degree park with only 20-foot lane. Class does what it says. Give me the confidence needed. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that. So, Charlie has a Yamaha 210 SX because it's a twin engine. I think I got it right this time finally. First time boat buyer, watched the videos, bought the boat, and got the Trailer Like a Pro because he wasn't sure how to handle that. And One of the things I'm super, super proud of is the community that we built, the group of people that show up on these lives, and the decorum in the comments. There's no meanness. There's no, saying you're stupid. There's none of that. And the other thing I'm really proud of is that the people that have invested in the programs that I sell, the free stuff, I get great comments. That's great. The videos, mostly good comments. That's great. But the programs that people have bought, the Best Boat Captain on the Water, Trailer Like a Pro, Tow Water Sports with Confidence, the pontoon version, the First Time Boat Buyers Academy, is people are really saying this made a world of difference. I got an email from a guy the other day that said he bought the course, was waiting for delivery of his boat. And he said his salesperson was so impressed with the way he handled his boat. And he's like, it's all because I took your course before I bought it. And I haven't even practiced yet. I haven't even got out there and practiced. And I know Charlie was out there practicing backing his trailer before he hit the boat ramp for Memorial Day weekend, which made a huge difference in his level of success and confidence as well. Is that not only did he watch the videos and go through the training, but he did what I recommended he do is, hey, go out and practice a little bit before the heat's on when you're at the ramp on a Saturday afternoon. All right, so the hybrid, with the talk of the recession, gas prices as they are, do you see market turning within the next 3 to 6 months, more inventory, possibly lower prices? Robert O, yes. On, let's see, how do I say this? I'll say yes on the more inventory, but I still think boats are going to be selling. I think the idea that the boat market is just going to shut down and that prices are going to fall off the table, I don't believe in my gut that that's what's going to happen. Do I think boats are going to sell multiple offers in a couple of hours online? Yes, that's going to go away. You're going to be able to actually shop for boats a little bit more normally in the next couple of months. I think if all of this, gas prices continue to be high, recession numbers continue to show, I think after Labor Day, I think you're going to see, a leveling of prices. I think you're going to see new boats, all of those price increases that they put in place because of supply chain issues. If those supply chain issues get smoothed out, that should naturally drop the cost to the manufacturers. Okay. And I think what will happen is you're seeing manufacturers not always raising their MSRP. They're saying we're adding a special fee of this amount. It just adds a price to the boat. But I think we're going to see those go away and we're going to see those prices come down a little bit. I think that's going to trickle down to the used boat market a little bit. But again, if you go back and you watch the State of the Boating Industry video, this one right here that I was just mentioning, I talk about it. The red one is the spring 2022, is there weren't as many boats built in 09, 10, 11, and 12 as there. So if you're looking for a new boat, here's what you'll find. You can find 06s and 07s. It's really hard to find a 2012 used boat. Pontoon, bow rider, center console. They're just not there. There was like 200,000 boats built, 150,000 boats built in a couple of those years. You spread those all over the country and Canada. I just, even if the demand goes way down, I think people are enjoying boating, even with the gas prices, that I don't think you're going to see a sharp drop. I think you will see a steady, slow drop as people just aren't able to sell them quicker and they'll start dropping their prices. But I don't think it's going to be dramatic. But I think you're probably right. I think in 6 months is when I start to see this happening, because you still have the person that says, I can't get a new boat, X brand that I want. I can't get it today, but I can buy used today. And that's going to keep that used market kind of buoyed a little bit for at least through this year. Next year, I don't know. Next year is when I would see it happening. Certainly in the off season is when you're going to get the best prices any year. But that's kind of my gut. But I also tend to be a more optimistic person than pessimistic. So take that into play as well. Take that into play as well. Okay, I thought, that seemed odd that you'd have a Mercury on that C Pro or that C Pro. Sorry about that. The Sportsman. None of your business. You're welcome. Let's see, Russ. Last year at this time, people were pulling boat ads, relisting at higher prices because they were getting too much, seeing significant price reduction. Yeah, it's the market in the last 2 years. You're exactly right. I think there were people that agreed to sell it, and somebody else came in and said, "What if I gave you 1,000 more or 5,000 more?" That's gone away completely right now. But there's still boats are going on the market, and they're gone within days. Are you video on in favor? Bruce, retype that question. I'm not sure what that question is. Retype that, and I'll try to get you an answer. Yeah. On the used boat side, Rush, you're exactly right. That's what was happening, and that's gone away. And gas prices are good for anchor. Yeah, that's exactly right. And we cruise, but we've always, regardless of gas prices, that's always been my favorite style of boating is cruise to a cove somewhere and throw the anchor out. I may be out for 6 hours, but 4 of those hours are just floating at anchor, playing with the kids. And if you've got kids, a couple of noodles and some snacks in between jumping in the water and goofing off. For my girls, getting in the boat, eating snacks and having some Capri Suns and jumping back in the water to goof off a little bit more, wipe the boat down on the sides and give them rags. And, just there's all sorts of dumb stuff you can do just floating, and then you cruise back. But the anchor got good use for us today or this weekend. About to remote sign my loan docs. Yeah, that it's really difficult. And there's some other things to think about, Billy Bob. I say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But the other thing that's going on is interest rates are going up. So there's some thoughts that say your lock is usually good. The interest rate that you get is usually good for 30 to 60 days, depending on how they do it from the time that you're approved. So, but that needs to be somewhat taken into consideration, because if your rate's going to go from 5 to 6.5, well, crap, what do I do? And that's a really, really tough one. But I always err to the side of run that dang boat first. And just like Silver Stranger, they said, nope, we've run the boat. We've run it. Everything looks great. They clearly didn't run it, because that issue would have happened if they actually ran the boat. I'm almost certain of it. I can't imagine that it happened on the third start. So, but the interest rate is one that brings up a challenge. The who knows when hummingbird issues, those are the most frustrating. Those are the most frustrating for sure. And monkeypox. Yeah, I forgot, Ray, the monkeypox glass is half empty. And hey, real quick, anybody that was a veteran, has been in the service. Ray was in Vietnam, and I told him he made a few comments on one of my images of my daughters our shirts on. I made him do some photo shoots with our some of the shirts that we have. And he said, "Hey, I lost some friends over there in Vietnam." And I told him, I said, I try to explain to my girls that Memorial Day, as much as it's about boating for our family and what we do, and I've done it forever, the real reason that you need to remember is what Memorial Day is all about. And for the folks that gave us the ability for us to have this, live discussion on YouTube about boats and spend the weekend on the water. So thank you, Ray, and anybody else on the live that is in the service or has family in the service or has lost somebody due to their service. So Ray, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. My dad, just a quick side note, I'll get to you here, Bruce. But my dad was in the reserves, and his unit was set to be called up. They got their number called, and they were heading out the week that the war ended. So he was on his way. Plans on going, and fortunately, he didn't end up going, but he was getting his bags packed and ready to be called up. So I can't imagine it. But anyway, all right. Have you done a video on boat lifts? Bruce, I did. Let's see. If you go to boat docks, so I did an interview with the owner of TM Boat Docks, and it is right here, U.S. Boat Expo, advice from a dock builder. So we talk a little bit about lifts. It is the thing about boat lifts is it's very dependent on the type of water that you're in. Does the level of the water fluctuate? Do you have currents? Do you have storms that come in? Do you need to be a fixed pier or a floating? What are the rules in wherever you're at? I grew up using floating lifts at the Lake of the Ozarks, the friends of ours that had a cabin down there. They always had a bladder lift. You turned it on, and the vacuum sucked the air out, or sucked the water out and put air in it, and it raised up, and then you blew the air out and sucked the water in, and it dropped down. That's what I grew up with, and I loved them. Here in Tennessee, they've got a fixed pier. It's not a floating dock because the lake level goes up and down significantly, and it's a cable lift. I was like, God, I like, just because I'm more comfortable with it, I know it better. I like the bladder lifts, the like hydro hoist type lifts that go up and down. It's what my family has at our lake place at the Ozark still, but it's a floating dock. So it really is dependent on where you are. I don't even remember what his name was. The guy at TM Boat Docks is in South Carolina. So he's in freshwater I think he was on Lake Lanier. I met him at the Greenville, South Carolina boat show. But he did some docks at the coast, and we talk about it a little bit. And then you've got, up in Minnesota and up in that area, you've got like shore stations that are removable. They pull them out of the water at the end of the season. And so it really depends. And I wouldn't say any expertise in that area. That's why I like to do some of those interviews to pull in other expertise that people that are way smarter than me. Yep, Bruce, you're 100% correct. I've seen more and more of used high-end boats listed on Boat Trader, reducing prices. Not sure when it'll trickle down. Yeah, I wish I would have done it a little bit different, but I did let's see, Boat Trader, and I in the market update video that I showed you with the red, I was doing. I did a search for boats from 10,000 to 75,000 in a 200-mile radius of my home in South Carolina. And the numbers from 3 months ago was almost identical to the number from a month ago. I haven't pulled it recently to see what's happened, but I should have probably sliced and diced that a little bit more and pulled different segments of boats, but I didn't. But I think you might be right. And it makes sense. In the industry overall, the history is highest price typically drops off sooner than that mid-tier. And we're probably seeing that now, although I haven't looked at those. Building a house, Southwest Florida canal with the lock, be a cable lift. Yeah, I would, Bruce, again, I am by no means a dock or a lift expert, but that seems right with the, Southwest Florida with your tides down there, not significant like they have up in the Northeast, but you still have water levels changing. You probably have a fixed pier at the coast with that set up on the canal. Yeah, I would venture to say a cable lift. I know very, very little about cable lifts. I can't even get the Cobalt straight on the lift down there. I don't know what my problem is, but my wife seems to think it's very funny. But it's watch that video and hopefully you can at least pick up a few things here and there. Big difference between waters. Yeah, for sure. For sure on that. Hydro hoist. Thank you. So we've got I haven't hooked, I don't know how to link it to anything, but I'll do a couple videos. We did, my daughters and I made them do a little impromptu photo shoot. I'll put it up. You'll see it. You'll see some photos of the new shirts. So we've got the logo, and I had it made with I had the designer make the anchor, a ship's wheel, a pontoon, a center console, a dual console, a bow rider with no tower, a bow rider or jet boat with a tower. It was a jet boat, but when it came out, you couldn't really tell that it was a jet boat. It just looked like a bow rider with a tower. And what was the other one? There were 6 of them. But anyway, I made those all into, you can put them on shirts and sweatshirts and hats, or not hats yet, and long sleeves, tank tops, Yeti tumblers, Yeti wine glasses, which is what my wife wants. And so you can get all of those. If you want to check it out, let me see if I can pull up that link real quick. And if anybody has any last minute questions, we're coming up on an hour and a half here, minus my 10 minutes of technical issues. So this is the store, and I'll put the link in the comments if anybody wants to check it out. But you can see all of the different logos. So this is the center console. This is the pontoon, the anchor. That's the bow rider. The ship's wheel. This is the what started out as the jet boat, but because you can't really tell it's a jet boat, it just looks like a bow rider with a tower. And then this is the dual console. And you can put those on anything. You can put them on t-shirts. And if you go in, you can select the color. If you're larger, and it'll change the color. Some of them, I don't know how great they're going to look. I just set them up. but I don't have samples of all of them. So like on the black, you can't see some of the detail on some of the boats, which I wasn't super excited about. So the ones I got this color. This color shirt looked really, really nice with the logos. My wife got this one with the pontoon on it. But you can check those out if anybody is interested. And I appreciate those that have got some, and there's a few that are coming out to some of you folks as a little thank you. Roller ramps are another, lifts. Yeah. I don't have any experience with those where you kind of roll them on like a floating trailer, and the sort of the back end sits in the water. But I don't have any experience with those at all. But for some situations in shallow water, especially, I think they're probably pretty good. My brother's boat at the Ozarks, he's got a 36-foot Envision. He had to get a shallow water lift, but it's a bladder lift. It's a lot skinnier and a lot wider, so that he can get out in the when the water's down there. They're all different, Jorge. When you go in, like this is the classic long sleeve, and it'll tell you, if you click on the product details, 100% cotton, 10%, let's see, sport gray, 90%. I guess it's different by color. Interesting. I didn't realize that. And then each shirt, like you can go to different styles. So let's see here. The comfort tee, the classic tee, that's all women's stuff. The one I'm wearing is, and it's nice. It's a little thinner than I like. My wife loves it. She's actually stolen. This is the premium tee that I'm wearing in the, nope, it's not the premium tee. Which one is it? Nope. There we go. The comfort tee in the heather gray is the one that I'm wearing right now. And but if you just go to the product details, 100% cotton is what this one. I will say, if you do get one, go a size larger than what you normally would. I finally have the setup to do the last version of the Coastal Edition in June, and I got the guy his shirts, and I got the size that he told me to get for him, but they're just a little bit smaller than what he would have liked. So they're just a little bit off. Bruce, the jet boat, I don't think I call it a jet boat because I think I just call it a tower. Let's see here. I know you guys probably are really excited about listening to my apparel commercial, but I think they're really cool looking shirts. I was super happy with the way they all turned out. So this is the one that, oh, I see. You can't even see my screen. That's why. This is the bow rider with a tower. It's a jet boat image that I sent to him to put the stars and stripes in and make it look nice. But you can see it's kind of got the jet boat back on it, but it just sort of looks like any stern drive or jet boat with a tower. But that's the one. And I just called it bow rider with a tower for folks. But again, Jorge, I thought you could see what I was doing, but if you go into the product details, it'll give you the materials, and each one is different. So if there's a certain material that you like, and there's certain, like the classic long sleeve, some of them will go up into the if you're like me, I'm a double XL kind of guy. And then you can kind of see it with the color. My daughter got the light yellow shirt hers looks really good. And I think this color looked really nice. And I've got several of the heather gray, and my daughter got a sweatshirt that was this color, that she loves. So anyway, if you're interested in that, feel free to check them out. I think they look nice. No, I don't. My wife told me I needed to get those. This is because I have a YouTube channel that has over 25,000 subscribers. They give me access to this thing called Teespring, which is shirt printing on demand. So they have a very limited number of options, and they don't have that. I don't know. We'll see if you guys love this stuff and you're like, yeah, we want to buy, and you guys are buying some shirts, I'll look at going to somebody and having them made. But I don't know if anybody is that interested in wearing my logoed apparel. It's the community. It's not mine, but the community of the boating apparel. And so I haven't done that yet, but maybe. So, and no, Bruce, the SPF, we don't have those either. So those are two of what do they call them? The rash guards. That's what my daughters really want, because they wear rash guards under their life jackets so it doesn't rub their armpits. And but I haven't got those yet. So, so. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm going to do this. I did this on the intro. Let's see if I can find it. All right, so this is for Saint here, Bo's privacy. Let's see if I can do it. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share. You missed this, Bo, but we had some technical difficulties to start us off. So, all right. So Bo made this and sent it to me. So we played it to start the show, and we'll give it another run here. So he put this little intro together for me. Did it show up? There we go. So he put that cool little intro together for me, and I appreciate it. That was awesome. I was like, I showed that to my girls. They're like, "Oh, that's cool." So thank you very much for that. I really, really do appreciate that. So hopefully you caught that before you had to get back to work. Appreciate the discussion beats the news. That's for sure. I don't think I've watched the news for over 15 years. It is not the pocket. You need the pocket. I'll have to look. I don't think they have the pockets, but I'll look. And again, if you all are getting the merchandise and you're like, hey, this stuff, we really like it. I'll look at kind of expanding the options and do some surveys with everybody about what you want. We're crossing over an hour and a half here. And I appreciate you guys all sticking with me through the technical difficulties. As always, I appreciate you guys, your support. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate I got several emails from people saying the best boat captain was awesome. I just got my boat delivered, and because of you, we avoided this issue. We saved money. We bought it with confidence, and we didn't think we could. I don't know. All right, so let's see. Now that I've got your attention, finally found a modern cutting cabin to replace my Capri. Haven't seen many reviews for it though. The 642 overnighter. I don't know that boat. I've got your email address. Let me check that out, Bo, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. But I haven't seen that model from Bayliner yet, so that'll be good. Can check it out. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you guys support. I appreciate you showing up on Sundays and having fun, having some good conversation. And like Ray said, better than the news. Better than the news for sure. So Rush, you're very welcome. Family all stresses me out on the water now. That's good. That's good. Thank you guys very much. Have a great Memorial Day. Thank you, everybody, if you've been in the military and for your service. I am going to call it a night, and we are going to head home from the lake tomorrow morning and get back to the real world. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll catch you next week. I think we'll be back on Sunday next week, and our special visitor is going to say goodnight as well.
Hi.
This is what happens when school's out. All right. See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's see.